Welcome back to Right Woman Right. I'm Donna Barker, and today it is my great pleasure to have with me Patricia Lohan. Hello.
Hi.
Patricia is from Ireland, and she is a Feng Shui expert, a business strategist, and she's an intuitive healer with a Mary Poppins bag full of transformational tools.
Yes.
If you haven't, well, you probably haven't because I'm just introducing you to her, but you have to check out her website, which is patricialohan.com, and it's right there on your screen now. The energy on your website just makes me fall in love. Like, I just love it. I hope that by the time this is posted that your wedding video is still somewhere available, because that is something that just honestly, a little bit of history about me. I used to edit wedding videos. That was one of the first jobs I did while I was still in university studying film. And out of all the videos that I did, I never saw a video that had the energy that yours did. I just love it. So today, what you're going to talk about is really about women creating space, both externally and internally, I guess, to succeed as writers and, in a sense, also as entrepreneurs, because as writers, that's what we are. Our writing, our books are little businesses, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So,
thank you so much, Donna, for having me here. I'm so delighted, and thank you so much for your comment about our wedding. I also event planned that into our wedding, so that's, I don't know if that'll go in the bed of my title, but I'm not taking on clients for that one. I'll just leave it to the professionals from now on. And I just love how the world works in very mysterious ways. But I just spent an entire day working with a woman whose vision is to be a writer, for an entire day working with her, and to share and to converse with you right now is just like, oh, this is interesting. So yeah, my role is to support women in creating a space that is supportive for them in creating the life of their dreams into reality. So whatever that is, if it is to be a successful entrepreneur or a successful writer or a combination, because stepping into your power is very, very scary, but also it's really, really amazing. It's such a beautiful process. Well, my experience has been, I've spent, I suppose, my early 20s were spent as an entrepreneur, like basically a serial entrepreneur. I've set up several businesses, but I ran a bar and restaurant and off license from scratch. It reached 7 figures. I set it up, reached 7 figures in its first few months, 6 months. I ran that for 7 years. I quit it. I quit that. I moved to India to become a yoga teacher because my soul was crying, and I was there in the restaurant sitting with my father one day and saying, is this it? And he said, well, what else would you want? And I was like, I'm stuck in these 4 walls, like... So I escaped. I ran very quickly and hopped on a plane to India and became a yoga teacher and trained in all these amazing holistic therapies. And this was a huge huge part of my life, has been working with clients and with people like just that feel stuck in their lives and having these inner limiting beliefs that they didn't even know that they had, and releasing trauma, releasing emotions, releasing stuff from childhood, fears of like not being good enough, of being told that don't deserve a successful career. These are embedded, ingrained from very young ages. So that is one of the aspects that I would definitely recommend for anybody who is dreaming of, this is just coming from from literally spending a day with a writer, these beliefs that were just like trapped from like 6 years old, from 4-year-olds, from 7 years old, that we literally dive deep in, cleared them, transmuted, and try to reprogram, because I have NLP and kinesiology and all these different therapies that I've trained in and really work with my clients. But there's an inner world that needs to be cleared so that you can step into your power and really allow yourself to express exactly what you want, but also to allow yourself to be visible, allow yourself to succeed, to feel that you're worthy of it, that you're good enough, and that your work is good enough, that people want to hear you, that your voice deserves to be heard. Like, there is so much in just that inner world that I'm kind of like, okay, and you're like, what does this have to do with feng shui? So I spent all of these years working with clients doing all this inner work, okay? And on a personal level, I had been interested in feng shui since I was like 16. So it's like sometimes as a young child, I don't know, today talking to, and it was a bit like myself because I love this because I always see myself having several of my own books and being an author and sharing this, my wisdom and my story. And everyone's like, you should write a book.
Right.
So you have so many crazy stories. But when I went back and rewound my own, what was happening at me as a 16-year-old, I asked for books about feng shui for Christmas. Like, I was fascinated I have no idea. I don't know why or how, but I was reading about feng shui.
Okay.
A few years later, yes?
I was going to say, take a second to tell us what feng shui is, because I admitted to you that my knowledge of feng shui is very small. It was that basic, almost ignorant understanding of what feng shui is.
Okay. So what is feng shui? Feng shui is an ancient art. It is over 4,000 years old. It comes from China. And essentially, the easiest way to explain it is acupuncture for your home.
Wow.
And if you have ever heard about what acupuncture does, it channels and it tunes into the meridians of your body, and it puts in needles into this remedy to make sure the energy flows and the chi flows and that your energy is flowing. And that's what we do. We bring in the elements, so metal, fire, water. We bring nature in to align and harmonize the home. Now, the one thing that sounds, there's several different types of feng shui, and the form that I practice is classical feng shui, which is that very ancient technique being brought down all the way through. There's some fast food forms of feng shui, which is like stand at your door, look over there, that area represents that. And actually and that's, if that works for you, that's totally great. I'm not going to dish it. It's just a very simplified version of what we would do. We would, there's 3 levels of feng shui. There's the first level, which is bring in jade plants, make sure you don't have mirrors facing your door to reflect energy, don't have pointy things, all of those like basic things that you may have picked up. Cactuses are not good for inside in your home. They're spiky, they're mean. You don't want to practice inside for it's not good energy. Okay, that's like the first level of feng shui. Make sure everything's working and in operation. The second level of feng shui is the level of recognizing what each area of your home represents. So in feng shui, when we would get someone's floor plan, we would look at it and we'd recognize, okay, so there's 9 areas. We've got the health and well-being and unity in that area. We've got your fame and reputation area, your prosperity and wealth area, your career, your family, your community, your love and marriage. There's so many. So there's 9 areas, okay? So this is when you recognize that, oh, that area there is my love and marriage area, and I have like my gun there and a picture of a single person on its own crying in the corner. That's when you're like, okay, well, if I want to attract love into my life, like I'm just being so extremist here,
no.
But like if I know that if I knew this is my love and marriage area and I want to attract love into my life, what do I need to put in there? What imagery do I need to put in there? What do I need to do?
So can I just ask that? So I'm assuming my house, anybody's house. So as a writer, I'm in this space mostly, which is my little office. Is it possible that my office space isn't the right part of the house for creativity and doing this kind of work? Because what I find is this is the space that's been created for me and where I can be quiet. But when everybody is out of the house, I navigate to another room in the house, and that's where I do my better work, which is interesting.
Okay, that's such a great question. So it doesn't matter if you don't sit in your creativity area. Like that doesn't matter. What really matters, and that brings me into the third level of Feng Shui. So the third level of Feng Shui is what we would work on like a personal basis, because when we do say a Feng Shui consult for someone, excuse me, that means that we literally take an astrological reading for your home, totally personal, and based on the year the house is built, and we will define what area it represents and what energies are flowing through the home, and that's when we will recommend what remedies need to go in. And that's like the third kind of ultimate layer. That's the layer where when like last week one of my clients put in her remedy in her career area, and the next day her husband got an email, an offer of a new job. Really? It's like that's when it's so immediate, like that. Like she could have put the affirmations in, and she could have put the other things about career and your diplomas in that area, but she actually put the remedy that was recommended for her home in, and then emailed me going, oh my god, he just got offered a new job, like. And that's where I'm like, OMG, like this is so powerful. And it is so powerful. We have seen it for ourselves in our own lives and in so many of our clients. But what is interesting about Feng Shui is there's that level of like the inner world, and then there's also your home has a specific type of external energy. So it can be a supportive home for people, it can be supportive for money, people, or not for either, or for money and people, or people or money. So that's where when I get a questionnaire back from someone who's really struggling in their life, and I said to you before we kind of went live, was that if you want to succeed in your life and you're, doing great creative stuff and you're trying to get yourself out there, and it feels like this huge uphill battle and everything's going wrong in your life and blah, blah, blah. When I'm reading that questionnaire, I'm like, there's something bigger going on. Like there's something bigger going on in the actual house itself. And that house needs some other external remedy to support it. And it totally is specific to the house. And that's when it's like, if you're feeling those kind of struggles, that's when it's like, it's an important time to go, well, is this a good idea for me to either like literally contact a Feng Shui consultant to figure out what the hell is going on, or, and you can't really DIY it, because it's a type of, it's very unique, and there's lots of books out there, but at the same time you can still enhance different areas. So I'm just for example, interested to see for someone who wants to become creative in their lives, like right now, or wants to, get their book out there, or really get that. I'm interested, first of all, so where is the door to your office? Where's the door to your office? Now, I'm just going to ask you, Donna, where's the door to your office?
So, here, let me show you. Oh, I'm a little
I'm just going to test her now.
Yeah, okay.
We're putting her on the spot.
There's the window. Wait, there's the window to the outside.
Yeah, nice.
And then a big blank wall, because I'm about to paint it. And there's the door to my office. So, and when you open the office door, you're out to a wall. And then, and then out to the house. So,
okay. Yeah. I didn't mean to put you on the spot to show me your whole house.
Good. That's all good.
It's like, look, we get to see Donna's house.
Yeah, and the cat there.
So, for me, I see where your desk is, and I would be like, Donna, move your desk.
Okay.
Number one. Okay. So, let's just, first of all, I know I said that it doesn't matter where you sit in your or where your office is located. What we would look at on a Feng Shui perspective is that we would look at the creativity area where it is in its home, and we'd make sure the right remedy is in. But if you were, for this current state, I'm just like, let's look at your office and say, what's the first thing you do? The first thing you could do is make sure that you have a wall behind you, which you do, but the door is also behind you. So I don't know if you can twist, you don't have to do it right now.
I'm just
but
looking.
Can you? Yeah, the door is like coming here
it's
beside
right at the
you.
Side. Yeah.
It's right at the side. So first of all, that energy, the energy is what we're talking about. Is so the energy is coming in straight at you, like full force beside you, and it's just that's a lot of energy. Like that's just a bit too much, and no wonder you feel like, I don't want to sit here and create. If I can sit somewhere else it's a bit more peaceful, because literally that door is coming in, it's like kind of pushing you over. It's quite overpowering. So I can just kind of feel that. And then what I would do is, if I was you, I would either move my desk out and I'd sit the other side to this wall right behind me. So you can see how I have a wall right behind me.
Yeah.
So either I'd push your desk like way back, so you'd have the wall like right behind you.
Yeah.
Support. It's like a mountain behind you. So you feel this sense of support. I would also have a beautiful, like, strong chair behind me, like a good, strong chair that you have support. And then that you can see the door. So, for example, I worked with a client and we went into her business. We, into the office, and immediately you like literally, this is kind of not the same, but we walked straight in the door.
Yeah.
And her chair was like facing me like this, and her back was to the door. And it was like the end that she was coming in and over her shoulder and literally on top of her. And I said to her, I said, oh my God, how do you feel in this office? Do you feel overwhelmed? Oh my God, she burst out crying. She was like, how did you know? Like, oh my God. And I was like, oh yeah, like really, even if you just turn to the other side of the desk and had the wall behind you, you can see what's coming.
Right.
You can see what's coming at you. So she was just like so upset, and the irony was that her husband, she's the CEO, her husband was also a director, but wasn't the boss. And he was sitting over in the power position in the far corner. He could see the door. He had the wall behind him. And he was so freaking happy. He was like, life is great. And I'm like, they were like polar opposites energetically.
Yeah.
But their seat position in their office really reflected that. And there is an option. So I'm sure there's going to be people watching this going, but I can't move my desk. And I'm like, okay, first of all, try and find a possibility where you have a wall behind you and you can see the door. And just because you can see the cables on your computer, or it takes a bit more space up, like, it's way more worthwhile, is my recommendation. It's 100 times more worthwhile. But if you can't, what you need to do is get a small little mirror and put it on your desk. So say if it's coming here beside you, you have a small little mirror, and you can look in the mirror and you can see what's coming. So it's like this little advance warning. It's not like everything's coming on top of you. You have a little bit of like, oh, the door is opening now. I can see who's coming in the door, as opposed to it's on top of you and they're on your, So that would be one like really important tip. The second thing that is like an overall overhaul of your entire house, and a lot of people, I would go to their houses and their houses don't look cluttered, and there's some houses I've been to that are very cluttered. But clutter doesn't necessarily mean that your house is messy. What it actually means is this is a build up of old stuff that you have not been able to let go of. So it could be lots of books, for example. I'm just like being a mean, picky person picking on writers. If you have millions of books, are you going to read them all again? Are you genuinely going to read them all again? It's really beautiful to have this huge library of books or this huge stack of magazines and papers. But for me, that's clutter. Right. Because it's old energy and it's not being used. It hasn't been touched. There's no flow. There's no chi.
Can you just put it up in the attic if you're afraid to get rid of it?
No.
No way.
Okay, so let's just say the attic means if you put it in the attic, you're actually creating more tension and more stress on your shoulders and pressure, because it's like it's weighing you down. So as opposed to it being like this stale, stagnant energy and not allowing the chi to flow around your house, it's actually doing the opposite. It's putting all this pressure. So if you have an attic full of stuff, apart from Christmas decorations, and if you plan, and baby stuff, if you are planning to have another child, like, they're my only two things that should be in the attic. Like, people are like, but I have all this baby stuff. And I'm like, well, would you like to have another baby? They're like, yes, I would. That's cool. If that baby stuff has been there for 30 years, like past clients that I've worked with, it's time to get rid of the baby stuff. Yeah. It's time to let go. And that's especially books, magazines, papers. It might look tidy, but like there's that hell lot of clutter, but it's also other stuff. So in your office needs to look organized. It needs to feel clear. It needs to be empty. when you let go of stuff, you're allowing space. And space is where the ideas come, where the creativity is, where you're able to channel and be able to be in the flow. Whereas if there's stagnant energy and there's just loads of stuff stacked everywhere and just junk everywhere, um, uh, it's not allowing that to happen. So you're like just stuck. If you feel like you're stuck and your office looks like that, clear it out.
Right.
Empty your bin regularly, bring some plants in, bring some images that really inspiring. We were just talking about a vision board. I would highly recommend in your office, like when you move your desk in the perfect position, that facing you is your new vision board.
Nice.
And that that's where I'm going to ignore the how. This is what I want. This is my New York Times best-selling book. This is me with, I don't know, my favorite author in the world saying well done, or whatever that is. But that you have that vision, and when you're looking up, you see it, and that's the driving force. That's what you want surrounding you in your office.
Well, that feels, just having you say that, I can feel the rightness in it. For me,
Yeah.
I've got paint chips on the wall because this color it was good for a while. It's a funny thing. As a technical writer, this office worked fine for me. It really did.
Mm-hmm.
As a creative writer, and as I'm building a new business, as a technical writer, I've been doing that for so long. It's not a business I've had to build. It all comes to me. It has.
Yeah.
This new business, Right Woman Right, is something that I'm building. This isn't a room that helps me build. And it's a really interesting phenomenon that I've just kind of realized. So I thought I'll start with the paint.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. You know what? Maybe I'm kind of picking into something just lighter, brighter, more space, expansion, growth, and even like the imagery expansion.
And you can't see, I didn't show you the desk I'm sitting at, but it's a wall of books. It is a wall. Here, you can see my desk. It is a wall, which I loved.
Oh, Jesus, that's all going to fall down on top of you. It's too much pressure. Oh my God, Donna, it's too much pressure. That's too much like...
It is. And I've got, anyway, I've got my old taxes sitting there because sometimes I need to access them. And honestly, having my taxes sitting right there at my right-hand side is not a good thing for me.
Yeah. And also when your desk, there's so much stuff coming out. You say, just for example, your desk, there's so much stuff there that this is the space between you and expansion. Whereas if you sit over the other side and you have that whole room of expansion, that's where you can expand. That's where you can grow into. Whereas right now it's like, I have this minute space here that I'm pushing, and there's all this weird stuff that could fall down on top of my head right now. Like, that's what I was saying.
Well, that's kind of how I'm feeling. So, I'm it's a funny thing. I'm doing interviews, so many interviews right now for the Right Woman Right community.
Yeah.
And the people who have found me and who I've found, it's clear. I mean, I am my own best audience for this community because I struggle with all the things, the people that I'm speaking to. But honestly, it's just kind of a funny thing that I didn't know I needed Feng Shui to Feng Shui. I didn't know that. You connected, and then I started thinking about it going, no, this is really clearly not working for me. And I've known it wasn't, but I didn't know what the solution was. So with other women who are watching, one thing you do is you've been saying this, you help women who work from home create spaces that help them be more successful. Yeah. So as a writer, is it possible to give general tips? You've been giving great tips to me, which I imagine some women can go, oh, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that all of those tips that I've given, by basically having a good supportive wall behind you, a great chair, a good desk, having expansion, make sure that you can see the door in your office. If you can't, have a little mirror. Clutter, just clear the clutter and bring some nice fresh plants in, bright uplifting colors. I would also recommend making sure that your door works well, so you can bring the chi in, and the creativity area of the home the creativity area is somewhere that you could, in general, what I would recommend is a declutter of everywhere.
Right.
So first of all, focus on your office, because your office is essentially your business. Like that's where your business is, or where your like creative juices are going to be. So that's where you want to look into, and you want to stand in it and look at every single item, and just ask this one question. Does this spark joy?
Oh, what a great question. I can look around and quite confidently say no to most. Yeah.
And if it doesn't, how are you going to feel inspired? How are you going to feel creative? How are you going to feel joyful? How are you going to feel in the flow if it's not in that state? If you don't feel in that space. And that's why you've obviously said technical writing is like, I don't know what that is, but it's like it feels like it's like very like organized and straight, and you don't need any creativity. You don't need it to spark joy.
No.
There's no joy. I don't know, technical writing doesn't seem to spark joy just by the words of it. But in general, if you thought about the space, it's like if you want to create writing that you are sparking joy in everyone's lives that are reading it, where you are needs to represent that. So, inspiring quotes, like creating your vision board. Obviously, if people want to learn about how to create their vision board, Feng Shui, I have like the webinar that I did, Donna was like on it. That there's things that you can do to just bring in what does spark joy, and that will make a huge difference. If you declutter and you bring what sparks joy and have a good comfortable seat, you're really like on the way. In general, in your house, it's the exact same thing. Like literally make sure it sparks joy. So example, I flippantly talked about cactuses earlier, and I'm totally serious, because they're pointy, they're spiky, they're not necessarily dangerous, but even like you won't like hold a cactus.
Right.
It certainly won't spark joy, if you hold it.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to like let go of that out of your life. And it's like literally, you could just decide, I'm just going to do it for my office, but your whole home is the same. It's the same environment. So it's about looking towards that and making sure that it's in alignment with that sparking joy. Can you see out the window? Are the windows clean? How are you viewing the world? Are you allowing yourself to see out the world clearly? Because that's how you see the world. I was interviewed recently for a self-care summit, and I spoke about your shoes. Okay. And they were like, what? I'm like, well, your shoes, like, have you looked at your shoes recently? And your shoes are like how you travel in life. And are they battered? Are they healed? Do they need healing? Are there holes in them? Like how you move forward in your life. And your outer world often reflects your inner world, and your inner world reflects your outer world. So whatever's going on in your inner world, your outer world is going to look the same. So if there's a lot of trauma, a lot of anxiety, a lot of craziness, usually your home kind of looks a bit like that. Okay. And I'm like, that would be just, I know it's a general comment, and some people's homes look really tidy, but there may be elements that are just that are out of alignment, or the feng shui remedies or the energies are off. But it is a really great analogy, because when you start sorting out your outer world and start creating space, so just decluttering by taking all those books off the shelves, you're making space for new books, you're making space for new inspiration, you're making space for new insights, you're making space for new energy. And by clearing out, you're making space for new. And it's exactly the same with by clearing out to allow new ideas.
Right.
So the outer world you declutter, that will help clear the inner world. And so that's for me, and I didn't quite get to that in my story, but I was working with clients for so many years, and I had this fascination with feng shui for years and years. Personally, I feng shuied my bedroom for love. I attracted my soulmate, my amazing husband Ken, and I then trained to bring feng shui on, to be a feng shui expert, so I could really bring it in. And it was like that was when the penny dropped for me, ultimately, with with this work, because if your environment is not supporting you, all of the inner work, it's like, I'm going to be a great writer, I'm going to be all the mindset stuff that you do. And don't get me wrong, you need that. That is super important. You need to be a focused and positive and all of that. But if the underlying beliefs, number one, I talked about all those belief stuff, are not cleared, that's not going to help you move forward. But if your environment is not supportive, that is not good. It was just like this it was like my clients were coming, they were doing amazing, they were having so much aha, they were coming out feeling amazing, but then they'd leave, they'd come back and be still like, oh, this is great stuff, this is great stuff happening, this is happening, this is happening, but and they never quite jumped over this hurdle. And then I started going to their houses, and then I went,
right,
this is it. Their house is in a 20-year people lock, which means basically their house has been cursed for a whole 20 years. And that's what they're going home to every day for the last whatever number of years. And energetically, no matter how much you raise and do the best you can internally, if that house is not aligned, it's like that hitting your head off a wall going, why am I not succeeding? I am doing everything I possibly could. And that for me was this like, oh my, wow, there's 3 levels. There's inner world, outer world, and like the other kind of, look and synchronistic kind of whatever layer, that the unknown.
Right. Wow. Honestly, I'm thinking it's Thursday. This is good. I can probably squeeze in a day of work tomorrow, mostly focused. And then I've got the weekend, and I want to set myself a commitment here to get back in touch with you in a month and show you what my office looks like.
I'd love to see it.
I'm feeling so inspired.
Yeah, and I'm currently in the process of creating some worksheets and some PDFs about how to I don't know when this is going to go live, but I will be. That's what I'm working on, is how to set your office up for success, and give some clear tips, some steps, like what's the first thing you should do, the second thing you should do, and even some audio guidance. So if anyone wants to contact me, because I am doing that, to give you a checklist and really get what you need, what you should have in your office and what you shouldn't have. Yeah.
Lovely. It's such an honor to meet you, and I'm honestly so enthusiastic.
Great.
It's going to be hard to work for the next couple of days, but you know what? It's been hard to work for the last couple of months, so
yeah,
I think this is the right thing. Thank you so much for taking time and I know it's a big time for you, lots of change, and starting this new direction for your business. So anyway, thank you, Patricia, and
you're so welcome.
I look forward. I will be in touch with you. And
great. I look forward to hearing and seeing.
Good. Thank you so very much.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.